Here we go. The glare is really bad up here. Oh, thanks, me fan. It's crazy, man. All right, I'm gonna get one selfie. And then I'll put you back on my arm.
But it's cheap, it's only like $1,500. Are you serious? Yeah, that's why I got it. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can get...
Routine perform toxic vapor and O2 check when raising the environmental seal and configure white room for launch. Roger. And look, if you get a ambulance for disconnect time.
And once Starliner has made it to orbit, the last major milestone before the crew begins will be called orbit ops. It's called the orbit insertion or OI burn. That will move Starliner into an elliptical orbit as opposed to a regular one.
Flick, we're calling it 1537 Zulu.
Roger. Going from a circular orbit, which they get off of after separating from Atlas into an elliptical orbit, and from there Starliner will be on its way to International Space Station.
It sounds like the teams that have been getting Butch and Sunny ready are just about done with their job and getting ready to move away from the White Room. But before we go back to Florida, let's check in with Rob Navius, the International Space Station Flight Control Team. Rob?
Thanks, Brandy. Just inside 44 minutes until launch, and back here in the ISS Flight Control Room, flight controllers are keeping tabs on the countdown and monitoring the work on board in the aftermath of the docking of the unpiloted Progress resupply craft earlier today at 7:43 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, NASA astronauts Matt Dominic, Mike Barrett, Jeanette Epps, and Tracy Dyson, along with Station Commander Oleg Kononenko of Roscosmos and fellow cosmonauts Nikolai Chub and Alexander Grabenkin, will form the welcoming committee when Wilmore and Williams arrive on board tomorrow. The dock timeline is elastic. That means that the number of days that Starliner can stay at the station could be pared down or expanded depending on any further launch delays or on docking delays driven by weather conditions at the western U.S. landing sites for Starliner. One critical dock day for the Starliner.
Starliner Houston, cabin leak check complete. You can open the vent valve.
All right, great. That's it. One critical dock day for the Starliner crew will come 2 days prior to their scheduled undocking, when they load the last of the cargo items to be returned to Earth in the vehicle, and will conduct onboard manual piloting proficiency that will enable them to stay sharp for their departure from the station
look at that.
and the orbit entry that will follow.
The birds. Damn,
So
man.
here we are at the intersection of Cape Canaveral, Houston, and space. And aboard the station, two of the Expedition 71 crew members, Jeanette Epps and Tracy Dyson, recently took a moment to set the table for the arrival of Wilmore and Williams at their orbital destination.
Hey, Sunny and Butch. We can't wait for you guys to join us here on station. We'll be monitoring your every move on the journey, and we'll be waiting to open the hatch and welcome you to your home away from home.
Butch and Sunny, we know you've waited a while to get your ride aboard Starliner, but we know it will have been worth every minute. So from all of us on the International Space Station,
It's okay, Kathy. No worries at all.
Less than an hour to launch two astronauts to space flight. Let's check back in with NASA's Antonio Jaramillo, who spoke earlier today with NASA's top administrator about this mission. Always an honor to be joined by NASA leadership, and joining me today is NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. Administrator Nelson, can you tell us why it's so important for the space agency that we have another American space company launching from
Hey,
American
Becky.
soil?
You always want to have a backup position, and in this case, a second spacecraft. For example, when we go to the moon, we will have two landers. We will have a SpaceX lander, that's first, and then the Blue Origin lander.
Are you hearing the latest?
This is a
No.
significant launch.
Is it? I heard.
I thought
Oh, it's just on. I using the phone number for the
It's only six in the history
ongoing
of
updates, but nothing new.
Mercury, Gemini, Apollo,
Who's on?
then the Space Shuttle, then Dragon, and now
You're on two?
the Boeing Starliner launching for the first time with humans on board.
That's right. It's very historic, very important, and you touched on this. Why is it important in general that we do have multiple spacecraft available to send humans to space?
Because we want to explore. We are exploring in many different ways with humans as our astronauts. We go back to the moon, not just to go to the moon, but to get ready, to learn, to live, to create in order to go to Mars. But that's just one part of our space program. Science, research, the exploration of the heavens, the commercial program. We're going back to the moon later this year with a commercial lander with a NASA instrument that's going to dig to see if there is water on the South Pole. It's a whole combination of a bunch of things that are going on.
That's right. You briefly touched on that. I mean, there's already been a ton of exciting missions this year. What else can the public look forward to?
Okay.
Well,
I'll get it where it needs to be when
in
we're
addition to those,
ready.
Remember, the first A in NASA is aeronautics. And we're going to fly the needle nose new supersonic. It goes faster than the speed of sound, and it's designed so
Put this over.
make sonic boom so that
Actually.
it fly faster than the speed of sound over populated. We have enough aviation projects to improve fuel efficiency by 30% of mid-range single-aisle transport aircraft like the Boeing 737.
All right.
That is fascinating. Administrator Nelson, thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll send it back over to you.
I am here. Let me check.
Currently at the ASOS with the launch team as we watch the crew access arm moving away from the Starliner spacecraft. Now the plan is for Butch and Sunny to be docked to the ISS for at least 8 days, and after they will return to Earth with a soft touchdown in the American Southwest. There's video and sound from inside the Starliner.
You mean the regular view, Marlies? I should do it on regular view. Definitely feedback is helpful, really helpful, guys, because it's so glary up here. I can't even see the screen, so it's really hard to see.
The original test pilot, Rosie the Rocketeer, you see there, collected data of what astronauts might experience. The only American orbital crew capsule to land on land. This allows for quicker access to crew and cargo. It also makes turning the spacecraft around for future missions quicker. But, Mike, Starliner can also land in water, like we were talking about earlier.
Yes, Starliner is a very capable spacecraft. Of course, we wanted to land on land for the reasons you said. I love those airbags. I can't wait to ask Butch and Sunny how good those are. But in case of emergency, we can land on water. And we have a central airbag, another one.
And we'll go north to triage 6 if necessary.
All right, I just wanted to see if I could get you even a view of the crew arm.
Good feedback. One additional item for you. In the commander's folio, you'll recall you have your 2 tablets. You've got a serial number 12 and a serial number 13. They're both ready to go.
I'll pull it out before we go. That's zoomed in as close as it can get because the crew arms coming away. I definitely can't see it.
Serial number 12 back in sync with the time on your D used. It's only going to influence where you see the red line and bold. So if you did have to use bold before that, go ahead and do it on 13. Otherwise, we'll just resync in flight and we can help you with that one.
All right, good words. We'll copy that. And if we have any questions when we get there, we'll give you a call. I have confirmed that I can reach the captain.
Good morning, Colin.
That was Josh Kutrick giving some last-minute info to Butch and Sunny about their tablets, as well as in case of emergency where to go left or right at the end of the slide wires. But yeah, Starliner can land on water. We'd rather not, but it has that capability, and it has a different airbag configuration for that.
Flexibility is great.
We have just about a half hour left before launch. Let's check back in with NASA's Antonio Jaramillo, now with someone who's been a part of Starliner since the beginning. Tony? Thank you, Dee. For those of us just joining, we are here at OSB-2, one of the viewing locations for this launch. And joining me is Chris Ferguson, former NASA astronaut and Boeing astronaut. Chris, you've been part of Starliner since the beginning. How does it feel to be here and now get to
Very
watch
windy up here
with astronauts on board?
Well, given it's such a darn gorgeous day, I'm really excited. Of course, this is the culmination of probably 12 years of just watching and working and getting involved with the development. But I'm very excited to see it all come together. It's a little breezy out here, but you can't beat the weather.
Absolutely. It is a gorgeous day. Now, Chris, if you could give a piece of advice to Butch and Sunny and to all our astronauts flying on our commercial crew missions, what would it be?
Well, Butch and Sunny are pretty darn experienced. They probably don't need my advice. But what I would say, on a very first ascent on a vehicle and a re-entry, take it all in, experience, and think about what you're experiencing like? What's it like when the parachutes come out? Because these are questions that everyone's going to know when we get back. Everyone to know if you get comfortable to fly.
Absolutely. We can't wait to know. I mean, we're all taking it in here, too. You know, Chris, it's our understanding that your fingerprints are all over the spacecraft, in particular the launch console and displays. What can Butch and Sunny expect to see and experience aboard Starliner for their flight, and how does that compare to flying the space shuttle?
Yeah. I think the idea behind the design is to make sure that the crew always has reasonable awareness of what's going on. I remember with the space shuttle days, you know, sometimes the displays were a little archaic. You had to really almost have a graduate degree to understand exactly what you were looking at. So the idea is to make it a lot more airplane-like, because the crews are very experienced pilots and aviators, and for the next generation of Starliner astronauts to come along, we went away to make it very intuitive. So we've reduced the number of switches to the bare minimum. You know, the shuttle had 1,000. We have 25, maybe. I don't know what the right number is, but it's a very streamlined. It's capable of being flown by a single person. So there's a lot of, I would say, upgrades to make it safer and a lot more flexible than its predecessor, the space shuttle.
Definitely a very impressive spacecraft. You know, and Butch and Sunny, they're going to also perform a few manual demonstrations aboard. You also were a part of this flight test in the beginning. Can you talk to us a little bit about these
the sky's so blue.
and just kind of the importance of why Boeing decided to have both a blend of autonomous and manual capabilities?
Yeah, there's always a sort of a contentious look, you know, between engineers and pilots on how do I control the spacecraft. The pilots always want the ultimate ability to take over in a situation when they need to. So the Starliner flies very much like the Space Shuttle and the Apollo and the other capsule vehicles, with two different hand controllers where you can control all 6 degrees of freedom. You can maneuver it to an attitude if you needed to, say, charge your solar arrays or pick up a communication satellite. And they'll have the opportunity, of course, to check that out. And then there's also a deeper level of redundancy called backup mode, which is a means that the crew could manually fly the vehicle, even in the unlikely event that all the flight management computers fail. So there's a lot of redundancy, and it really is a true piloting vehicle, which is, I think, why the NASA customers really enjoy it.
I'm sure. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Megan, D.
Question
Mike,
of the day.
All right, a quick check on the clock. We are 31 minutes and 40 seconds to lift off of NASA's Boeing Crew Flight Test. And right now, what you just saw on the screen there, you see Butch and Sunny. They are patiently waiting their launch inside of Starliner's spacecraft there. And then also, we did see the pad team who've been helping Butch and Sunny into their spacecraft, as well as securing the spacecraft and closing the doors. They have since left the pad, right, Mike?
Hello,
Absolutely. So
Iceman.
the only thing that's left is we have a rocket and a spacecraft and 2 human beings sitting on top, getting ready for launch in 31 minutes.
Yeah, and so what we expect to hear coming up is just repeated communication
I'm not
checks
getting
with Capcom and Houston
updates.
and with the crew. And also, this is an opportunity, right, to discuss any anomalies or resolutions, but we haven't heard anything.
Yes, I think we hopefully got that out of our system earlier, and here we go. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Push the 20, operation 60, blast engine area is clear. Roger.
They just confirmed that it is just indeed the rocket spacecraft and 2 human beings.
And so, yeah, so we'll hear those continued checks, and this is just an opportunity for some status updates if needed, right? This is the kind of time that's built in to allow for discussion if needed.
Absolutely. We're waiting for the Earth to rotate in just the right position for that instantaneous launch window. And any anomalies we had, we got out of the way. And now everybody is
minus 30 minutes.
double checking their data.
30 minutes.
Weather briefing on Channel 8 weather conference.
And the weather.
Right.
Roger. Arm control, start arm hydraulic final prep. Roger. Box 1, perform pogo suppressor charge.
Roger.
Prop 1, perform RD-180 transducer converter calibration.
Roger.
P&E 2, perform Centaur LH2 SVB cycle test. Roger.
These are nominal countdown checks.
Is it? I was going to say, do you want me to...
Launch conductor Doug Lebo.
Do I need to... Do you want to see it a little bit closer up or no?
Steps to get the rocket that much closer to ready for launch.
Historic flight test, as we've been telling you throughout this broadcast. We've been on air now since 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time to tell you about the first 2 astronauts that are going to fly in Starliner. And again, we keep seeing live views of them inside Starliner. Commander Butch Wilmore and pilot Sonny Williams.
Transition calibration is complete, and the engine SIB is disclosed.
Roger. Minus 29 minutes. Flight control, start flight control, final prep.
Here we go.
Roger.
Now, Sonny will be the first woman to test an orbital spacecraft. Another fun fact, the last time people flew to space in an Atlas-class rocket was 61 years ago at the end of the Mercury program. CFT is the final test to certify a second commercial spacecraft to ferry astronauts to and from the space station, which really is a wonderful resource to us and many
Boeing's
countries
made so many
and
NASA's
also research institutions.
spacecraft. Most of these people working on launches are Boeing employees. Yeah, they really. Yep, exactly.
All right, again, 28 minutes, 5 seconds to liftoff. Let's head back over to Brandy and Jim inside Mission Control in Houston.
LCP-82. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Lance.
Cycle tests are complete.
Director Mike Lammers is just about to pull the flight control team here in Houston for a go or no-go, verifying that all of Starliner systems are ready for launch today. Everything's looking good at the moment, and Lammers will use this poll to determine his own response to the final go-no-go poll by the launch conductor just before liftoff.
Trying one more in.
Countdown time frame. Go ahead. Roger, do we have the temperature update complete?
Roger, the RP1 temperature update complete.
Roger. Prop 1, initiate fuel fill sequence.
Roger.
And once we're in that terminal countdown time frame, go ahead.
You measured the discussion for the CISA temp. It's noisy measurement. I can take this to 6. Get a recommendation, probably to disable.
Roger. Community Malmy team and provide a recommendation.
Minus 27 minutes.
How's that look, guys? Okay.
And
I got a little bit closer up, just because I do want to try to get a decent amount of detail, being that we are so close.
Roger. One of the first activities Mike Lammer's team will be doing is transitioning Starliner from ground power to battery power. It'll come about 18 minutes before launch. We leave it about as late as possible so that the team can launch with those batteries as close to full power as possible. A few minutes later, with less than 10 minutes to go before liftoff, Starliner's ordnance will be armed, and that activates the critical systems that are needed to tap all the things from Starliner that will ultimately jettison as it climbs to orbit, and if it were needed to abort. And finally, just 1 minute and 15 seconds before launch, they'll work with the crew to activate the launch abort system to rocket the crew to safety in the case of an abort or on the pad or early in the ascent.
This is likely the last you'll hear from us until liftoff, so we are going to send you back to the team in Florida. Let Megan, Lee, and Mike see if they're the rest of the countdown. We'll be back once Starliner is on its way. Go Starliner.
Okay, let's take a closer look now at Starliner. The next generation crew capsule measures 16.5 feet tall with a diameter of 15 feet. That's about the size of a mid-size SUV. It was designed to carry up to 7 astronauts or a mix of crew and cargo for missions to the International Space Station. After today's test flight, NASA
I'll
will
pull it
fly
back
crews of
again.
4 or 5 with cargo. Starliner is also reusable up to 10 times.
Yeah, we're looking
LCO7.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Push that 60 flight hazard area has been cleared. All personnel accounted for.
Roger.
All right, everybody's in place for launch. Starliner, we're looking forward to getting it certified so we can continue our missions to the International Space Station with 4 NASA astronauts. And Boeing will have the option to use Starliner to fly to other space stations and to help build the low
All right,
Earth,
thanks, Janet. I really do appreciate you guys' help getting this
Hey,
right.
Mike, let's squeeze in a social question since we've invited viewers to send them to us. This is from John on YouTube asking, how did the astronaut train for this mission? It's actually a question from a 10-year-old named Maddie.
Well, hi, Maddie. Hi, John. Yeah, so we spend a lot of time practicing exactly what's going on today. We sit inside a simulator, which looks and feels like a
I
rocket.
wish I would have brought my
Push all the
sunglasses, although I don't know if I could have seen the screen with polarized sunglasses on, so.
Things called malfunction, which something goes wrong, and we have to think our way through it and follow our procedures to have a safe practice mission. And we do that for about a year and a half. In this case, new spacecraft, so it took us 5 years, but it takes us about a year and a half to train for new spacecraft.
Roger, please disable line item 390.
Again, some nominal call-outs there as we march towards our instantaneous launch opportunity at 12:25 and 40 seconds.
It's really neat that we're hearing all the voice chatter back and forth from our team. I mean, what a nice thing to be able to share with everybody watching today.
Control final press complete and Atlas hydraulics at standby ready.
Roger.
Have it back, please head back over.
Go ahead. Line item 390 has been set.
Roger.
Let's head back over to ULA's Dylan Wright and Boeing's Lawrence Renneke from the ASOC.
Thank you, Megan. So you may have heard just a few minutes ago, team talking about they're actually telling Butch and Sunny once they get up into space that they will need to sync their tower. I wanted to give a little bit of a perspective on that. Basically, it's just a system clock in that tower. You can think of it as it's just going back to the start menu on Windows and syncing up the clock. It's been, of course, turned off for a little bit. And not connected to internet. So it's just something like you would do at home to re-establish the new time on your microwave. But Dylan, they've also heard about an anomaly on the ULA side. Not a big deal, but let's give them a little bit of perspective on that.
Sure, Lauren. So we had, we did hear a report of a noisy temperature measurement, and this particular measurement is the interstage adapter. So that's the adapter between Atlas and Centaur. And this measurement is something that's automatically disabled when we enter our terminal count at T-4 minutes. But over the past few minutes, we've observed this measurement bouncing around a little bit. So now that the vehicle is fully loaded with propellants and we've been stable for quite a while, this measurement is really not something that we rely heavily on when we're fully tanked and stable. So we're going to go ahead and disable it early rather than waiting for the automatic disable as we approach terminal count, and that just would prevent any what we consider to be a nuisance alarm at this point. So nothing major there. It's kind of a standard operating procedure.
How's the quality of the stream, guys?
We are just a little over 21 minutes out from launch. So this pressure charge is complete.
Roger.
Hey,
So
Shayna.
a little over, right now, about 21 minutes out from launch. And I've been thinking a lot about Butch and Sunny going back to the ISS for a third time for both of them. Sunny told us that really the ISS feels like home for them. If you think about it, they've both spent a good portion of time there. They both spent 6 months in their first trip up and 6 months in their second trip up. So now going back for their third time, they're going to a place that they consider home. If you think about living somewhere for literally a year out of your life, it means a lot to you. It's very special. And Sunny even told us that.
Go ahead.
Step 90, all secondary decoms verified on RF link.
Roger.
And Sunny even told us that she cried the last time she left the ISS because she thought it would be her last time in space. So you can just imagine how special this trip will be for both her and Butch. And we are getting very close now to that moment where they are going to be headed to space.
Ooh.
We are coming up on a call for the visors to come down. We're going to hear Capcom tell the crew to pull their visors down and to configure their suit flow.
Minus 20 minutes. Starliner, VD1, reinitiate visor.
Roger.
RLM, verify redline monitor and event tables are in the correct configuration for terminal count.
Verified.
RC, verify solar radiation acceptable for launch.
Verified.
All right, baseball, the crew starting to pull their visors down there. That configuration is needed for proper airflow through their suits. In case of an emergency, they could pressurize their suits quickly if needed. That is the importance of having everything zipped up and ready to go. And they really enjoy the fact that these helmets are much easier to get on. They just sit back on their suits, just like a hoodie of a sweatshirt. So they're able just to pull them forward and zip them up.
Starliner, visor config complete.
Houston copies, visor config complete.
All right, they're all zipped up. And this config
All
also
communications switch to channel